I remember she said, just so innocently, I can't wait to go to reception because then I can wear the dress like Amelia. And I remember thinking, oh God, what do I say in this situation? She's not going to wear a dress, she's a boy.
Tell the truth now. Do you want to be a boy?
No.
How do you know?
Because it's boring stuff and most of the boys play football and stuff.
So today we're going to be talking about the Saccone Joly family. They're based in Ireland and are a YouTuber family. But over the past couple of years really, and predominantly over the past few months, they've been getting a lot of slack, particularly of how they seem to be exploiting their child's journey through transitioning from male to female for monetary gain. And if you've not heard of them before, which I hadn't until a couple of days ago, stick with me because this is quite an interesting one. So the Saccone Joly family is made up of 4 children and their parents, Jonathan and Anna. And not too long ago, Jonathan came out as non-binary using he/him pronouns, which has now led to many people questioning the authenticity of Jonathan's child, Edie, coming out as female. Some people have pointed out the statistical odds of having 2 trans people in one family and the fact there is no proven heritable link, so it does seem a little bit odd. And Jonathan has mentioned in other coming out videos how he wished he had someone who understood his gender dysphoria and what he felt he was going through when he was younger and didn't have to live 40 years in the closet. And in one interview he even says, I feel like this is my opportunity to help Edie, kind of implying that he wishes he could have had that for himself.
Because of my experience in life, you know, I now am a non-binary person. I feel like, okay, I have an opportunity here now to try and do what I wish someone had done for me. Okay, ready? Everyone, guys.
They started putting out videos about Edie questioning her gender identity from when she was as young as 6 and she is now 8. And since then, despite them having nearly 1.3 million followers, their views would only get over 100,000 and push up to the 500,000 when it was anything to do with Edie and her transitioning. And of course a lot of people weren't happy because Jonathan got to tell his coming out story in his own time, whereas Edie has had hers put out there without her consent because, as we all know, 8-year-olds can't consent. They have no way of understanding the long-term ramifications of having something like this on the internet, and the internet is forever. Over the past couple of months, they even deleted every single video from their YouTube channel, but then seemed to put them all back on. And I think this was because they were getting called out for inappropriate positions that they were putting their children in, whether that be thumbnails with their mouths open, or more than at least 20 videos with their children in the bath. And unfortunately, there just are some creeps on the internet who specifically hunt out these types of videos for their own sexual gratification.
Like fights, we've never shown tantrums, we've never shown potty training, we've never shown things that we think would embarrass them later. We made the conscious decision to put ourselves out there, but they didn't get a choice, so we're always really mindful of like, okay, well, we're not going to show them in a bad light.
And then they got caught having loads of videos on their channel where their kids were in the bath.
Parent has to be aware of the dangers in the world, you know, and that's why we don't film the children in scenarios that we think, you know, makes them vulnerable. You can highlight the gymnastics, the swim.
Okay, let's do it real quick. Let's just see if hotel bath party, swimming in the bath, baby's first bubble bath, cute kids in the baby bath, no splashing in the bath, baby's first bath at home. Oh my God, baby's bath challenge. They have like 100 videos of just baths.
And he was even asked in a Stacey Dooley documentary about it. And his answer was really weird. It was like, I don't intend to create content for those type of people and I try to make it as hard as possible for them. Yet, even when that documentary was out, there was loads of videos of their children in the bath.
How would you feel in your heart of hearts if it became apparent that a paedophile or a sexual predator had been looking at your children, had been masturbating your children, for example?
It's such an odd question because how would you like? I don't know how you'd feel. Like obviously, is it a terrible thing?
And all of these other things. Like not too long ago, I think it was about 3 or 4 weeks ago, there was a video of him he'd posted of Edie on Instagram where you could see she was clearly flashing her underwear, and loads of people in the comments were outraged, and they didn't delete it for a good few days, I think. And he's doing all of this whilst knowing that he's getting backlash for it, and he always seems to thrive off it. And I feel like I just need to make this completely clear. I'm 100% in support of anyone coming out as trans, and even in support of Edie if that's what she truly wants. Because as I'm going to show you, there's a couple of clips where she just seems to associate being female with being able to have pink bedrooms or playing with princesses, and she doesn't want to play football, and that's a boy thing. And it's just, Jonathan doesn't seem to explain to her that children's brains are, boy and not and how they literally soak up every part of their surrounding room if that's what you really want. So if they see that they are getting positive reaffirmation from someone who they admire, like their dad, every time they talk about wanting to be female or do female things, then of course she's going to associate with everything to do with being female positively, not because she has any gender incongruence in her mind between her sex and gender, but because she's getting so much positive affirmation from someone who she loves, her dad. So not only have these two now got a really strong bond over it, Edie's probably feeling really unable to go back on her word because everything that she's now known is now getting attention, love, care and affection for coming out as female. She was held at parties, which of course, having a supportive family if you've got a transgender child is absolutely, there's no room for criticism for that. They have been above and beyond supportive. But the reasons that Jonathan cites for Edie wanting to be female don't really constitute in themselves anything more than a little boy wanting to play dress up.
Wear her older sister's clothes, or she wanted to wear dress up dresses, which I completely embraced because I just felt like that was normal.
And they even have a video where they say, "My son is gay." And I'm sure Edie would want that to be her own story to tell. Again, if later down the line she decides, maybe if eventually she comes back out as a male, then she decides that she's gay, or even if she stays female and eventually says that she's gay, all of these are her stories to tell, and it's just been blasted all over the internet. Because I mean, my brother used to play Barbie dolls with me or dress up in my princess dresses, and I was very tomboyish. I was on the Vale County football team for many years and would always just dress up in a hoodie and trousers and stuff, but my brother is one of the most masculine people I know, and I wouldn't say I'm very feminine, but I'm happy as a girl. So maybe Edie was just a feminine boy, but Jonathan has kind of seen that as his opportunity to be there for Edie in a way that he wishes he'd have someone be there for him when he was younger.
Let's do this. With Edie's situation, it's like, because of my experience in life, you know, I now am a non-binary person, I feel like, okay, I have an opportunity here now to try and intervene and try and do what I felt that like I wish someone had done for me.
So I think it's probably coming from a good place on Jonathan's behalf, but I don't think he can see that he's actually pushing something on Edie that maybe she doesn't truly want. And in some of the videos you can see that it's Jonathan who's running the show. Abby seems to just be looking at him sometimes kind of awkwardly or weirdly, and she doesn't seem to enjoy the limelight that much. And she even said in some videos that this is all Jonathan's story, and I think that just says it all. It's about Jonathan, it's the Jonathan show, and he's now loving the fact that he's got a transgender child, because it didn't really necessarily mean that there was a trend of people turning gay. It just meant that it was more acceptable, so more people were coming out. And although Jonathan probably thinks he's doing good by the trans community, the way he's gone about it is probably actually giving credence to the people who aren't in support of trans people. Because ironically, he's reinforcing gender stereotypes by saying that if you're a boy, you can't like pink, and so you must transition into a girl, and now you can like pink.
Hey, can my shorts disappear?
Oh, because of the blue walls? Well, first tell me, which one of them do you like the best? What? Why are you walking like that? Okay, let's... Oh! Where's Eduardo gone? Oh, we've lost Eduardo.
But we might be moving house soon, and I get my own room, and I'm gonna make sure it has mermaids. It's gonna be sparkly and purple, real cozy. But right now I sleep in a blue room with Andrea. There's a lot of superhero stuff. That's why I don't really like showing people my room, because it's all blue.
Or you can't be a girl and play football.
Now, do you want to
to him by the parents is liking girly things, not liking to get hurt.
tell the truth now? Do you want to be a boy?
No,
How do you know?
because it's boring stuff, and most of the boys play football and stuff. I don't want to.
You don't want to play football?
Yeah, and I don't like getting hurt.
You don't like getting hurt
They
either?
scream when they get hurt,
Do they?
but not a sad scream. Like they're really happy.
Oh.
Like they just are really happy that they just achieved $1,000.
So, you're happy with how we treat you?
And so, despite kind of presenting himself as this trans advocate, he's really staunchly reaffirming all these gender stereotypes that I'm sure, as a non-binary person, he doesn't probably believe in and is trying to break free from. And because of the way he's chosen to go about telling Edie's story, which could be completely valid, he could just be a really poor narrator of her story, it's led to people questioning the authenticity of Edie's transness, which undoubtedly is going to lead to bad faith people then applying that same logic to other people who are also trans and saying that they have either not known themselves truly or that they shouldn't have come out of trans, and potentially could be harming the trans community as a whole. And as I've already mentioned now, because of all the love, care and attention that Edie gets for being trans, not for just being her, she's not going to know who she is, and she's now set on a trajectory that possibly involves puberty blockers and hormone therapy, which I'm all in support of if that is what they truly want. But having come out as 6 and not being able to just explore feminine things as a boy, how does she really know that she can't just be a boy and like everything she likes now? Because even as a teen, I would be in support of people using puberty blockers, because despite all of the myths and all of these articles going around, there is no conclusive evidence that they harm fertility, because as a biology major, I know that before you've even gone through puberty, your sperm and eggs haven't even started to develop, so they could not have any effect on the eggs or the sperm. And everything that happens with a puberty blocker literally is just paused. So as soon as you come off that puberty blocker, then you can resume puberty as normal. Other side effects that are possible is perhaps a slight decreased bone density, and there may be psychological effects because of having gone through that if that wasn't truly what you wanted. But as far as fertility goes, there is no conclusive evidence that anything is harmful in terms of puberty blockers. Now, there is a different question for hormone therapy, and that I think should be explored with a gender therapist, and that is another point I want to touch on. Despite having now changed her pronouns, changed her name, even with her school, changed her gender expression, there doesn't seem to be any evidence that they've actually talked through all of this with a gender therapist who could have helped diagnose Edie with gender dysphoria. And pause, I'm not saying that you have to have gender dysphoria to be trans, because lots of non-binary people and even trans people don't have gender dysphoria and they come out as trans, but it would help diagnose Edie as whether maybe going through just some discomfort or body dysmorphia or dysphoria rather than gender dysphoria, and that would be really helpful to then construct an accurate and medically approved and monitored care plan that would help affirm Edie's either body dysphoria or gender dysphoria. Because I know that lots of young girls go through a lot of gender dysphoria, as do boys. For girls, maybe if their boobs came in whilst they were quite young, they would learn to hate their boobs, and maybe sometimes would then think, well, I hate my boobs. Boobs are associated with being feminine, so I must be trans and I need to get rid of my boobs and anything that represents any sort of discomfort. But that isn't necessarily the whole truth, because, lots of young girls who are happy to be female later in life had that same dysphoria. And it seems like, for the most part, Edie has stereotypical feminine interests and was born a boy. I'm not sure that means that they are a girl. And again, whether that just, it seems like this is the case because Jonathan's not done a very good job of explaining the gender dysphoria that Edie expressed and has had throughout her life, or whether the examples he's given are true and just are a reflection of, you know, a feminine little kid. So because of all the backlash that they were getting, they very rarely post on YouTube, although I have been starting to post a little bit more over the past couple of weeks. They mostly post now on TikTok and Instagram, but still the focus is always Edie, and it has become the Edie show, but with the puppet master being Jonathan. And so now, rightly, a lot of people are just not happy with how everything they post is Edie, Edie, Edie. And even the past couple of weeks, he commented back to someone saying, so all of your content is now about Edie's trans journey? He just said, yes, this is my only content. So he's even admitted to that now, which I think is disgusting. It wasn't even in a jokey way, but maybe it was just, he'd been pushed to his limit and he just said something out of the moment, but he didn't delete it later, so I don't know, it all seems a bit something not quite right. And I don't particularly mean with Edie's transness, more so just with Jonathan. He's now moved on to some spiritual arc where he's always talking about mindfulness and conversations he had with, quote, invisible friends, and there's a lot of weird stuff going on with him. And I think Anna is mostly just in the background going along with it, and it definitely seemed, even from Stacey Dooley's perspective, that it was the Jonathan show. And he ran everything and was in control of everything. So I think that's everything for this video. Let me know down in the comments what you think about this. Do you think that Jonathan is completely within the right to be posting about his child's journey because it's his child and he can do what he wants? Or do you think that there should be things that are kept from the public and kept sacred to the family and Edie herself? Do you think that the whole trans journey of Edie's is authentic, or that Jonathan is just damaging the community and the authenticity of younger children coming out and the prospects that they might have then in being accepted into the wider community as a whole? Let me know down in the comments what you think, and hopefully you've made it to the end, and if you have, thank you so much. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!
Jamendo.com